find the resultant. What is the resultant? The resultant will be one vector that goes from the starting point until the final point, right? So that means that goes until here, right? It will be one straight line that starts in here and finish at the end of the program, right? So that is the thing that we need to find. This is the resultant, right? So in this one, we have to measure the two things. First, we're going to find the distance that every one of them travel, right? So first, Palma will follow all the streets, right? So what is the distance that Palma will follow?
We have to add every.
Excellent. So the distance for Palma, we only have to add all the meters that we have. So what is the answer for that? You have your calculator. Remember, in this one, in the first distance, we don't pay attention to the angles and anything else, right?
Tienes que sumar todas las distancias. Todas las distancias, sí.
Eso está fácil.
95 es.
Ese vale 10.
Sí, se vale 10.
Ahí hay que sumar todo.
1267.
Vaya. 1267. Uy, qué caminado. Pero solo hay que sumar los metros también.
No, we don't have to pay attention to the angle. In the first distance, we don't have to pay attention to the angle, right? Then we need to find the distance that David travels, right? David wants to follow this route, right? A straight line from the starting point until the final point. That is the resultant, right? So the distance of David will be the resultant, right? So the resultant is the one that we have to find with the components, right? We need to find every component for every vector. So we're gonna start with the first vector that we have, right? This one is 250 meters. This one, what goes? In Y or X?
Y.
Okay, so we have sum of Y and sum of X, right? So this one is 250 meters. It's positive, so it will be positive 250 meters. We already finished with the first one, right? Then the second one is this one, that is 750 meters. So in this one, we have an angle. We have 750, and we have the angle that is 32. So in this one, we need to find the component in X and the component in Y.
We use the formula.
So the component in X, we have a formula. What is the formula for the component in X?
Cos of the angle.
C cos of the angle, right? So will be the value for 750, the cos, and the angle that is 32. What is the answer for that?
Mister, en ese tema solo hay una fórmula.
No.
Yes.
Sí, solo esa.
Okay, 750 cos of 32. Rápido con la calculadora.
636.
¿Cuánto?
636.
636. Okay, this one is the component in X. The component in X in this one is positive or negative? It's positive, right? So it will be positive 636 because is in this one
Northeast.
Northeast. So it means that will be positive for Y
And positive for X.
So we're gonna put this one positive 636. Then in this one we have to find the component in Y. That will be C sine of the angle, right? So it will be 750 sine of 32.
397. 397.
Con más,
Siempre los que tengan ángulo van a encontrar los dos componentes, el X y el Y. Sí, solo le ponen si va en X o Y, depende de dónde vaya. Okay, so this one is positive 397 for this one, right? For the Y. Then the next one that we have is this one, right? That goes 120 meters, goes to the
Northwest.
northwest. Entonces, esta va para aquí. 120. So we're gonna find one component in Y that will be positive,
89.
and one component in X that will be negative, right? Because the west is negative, right?
El de X es 89.
So the component in X in this one is 89. And the component in Y in this one is?
Pero entonces en
80.
component of y sería negativo.
80.
Will be positive. Component 80.
Yes.
Okay, so pay attention to this one, right? this one goes northwest. So when we're talking about northwest, the north means positive for y, so this one is positive, positive 80, and west means negative for x, so the component in x will be negative 89 meters, right? Like this one, right? So now the other one that we have is the 52 meters that goes to the what? To the east.
It's
we
only
have
in X.
52 meters and goes to the east. The east means positive for x, so we're going to put here positive 52 meters, right? In this one that we don't have angle, we don't need to find that component, right? Because in this one we only have it in the component x, right? Then the final vector that we have is what?
El 95.
95 that goes southwest. So
resuelve iría
Eso es una de las primeras
Es
partes.
importante porque sospecha.
Así no te perdés, pero no es necesario. Esta sí, esa sí.
Ah, tiene algo.
okay, this one has an angle, so we have to find the
El dibujo
component
sí,
in x and the
esas no.
component in
Las de
y.
ahorita no.
So the component in x is what?
82.
82. And the component in y is what?
48.
48. So these ones are mirrored. We have to pay attention to this one is southwest. So
Sería negativo.
it will be south means negative for the component in y. So it will be negative 48 meters, right? And the west means negative for the component in x. So it will be negative 82 meters, right? So then we have to make the sum of the two components, right? So what is the sum of the component in y and what is the sum of the component in x?
679 for the component in Y.
600?
79.
No. And this one?
$517.
500
17.
meters.
No,
right?
17, mister.
17. Like this, right? Okay, and both of them are positive, right? So we have to make the formula for the resultant. Do you remember the formula for the resultant?
es tangente negativo.
Ah, the resultant.
Sumatorio.
Esto es
Raíz cuadrada,
raíz
CX
cuadrada.
al cuadrado.
Al cuadrado más x al cuadrado.
Excellent. So it will be the sum of x squared plus the sum of y squared, right? All this will be inside the root. So what will be the sum of that? It will be the sum of x will be 517 squared plus 679 squared.
La respuesta de todo eso, o sea, sin resolver la raíz, es 728,000.
Con la raíz de un solo.
Ah, con la raíz de un solo.
853.4, si no estoy mal.
853 me sale a mí.
Ah, 53, sí, eso. 53.4.
Okay, so remembering this one, right? So this one is the resultant. This one is the measure from this point to the final point. So always, almost all the time, the resultant is smaller than the quantity of meters that walks using the street, right? So this one is greater than the resultant, right? Because in this one you are following all the streets, and in the resultant you go in a straight line from the starting point
Entonces
to the final
David
point.
llegó primero y Palma caminó más porque
Okay, so that means that Palma walked more than David, right? Like this. Then, in this problem, we don't need the angle, right? We don't need it.
Pero, ¿cómo así que necesitamos el ángulo? El ángulo.
Okay, ya saben los dos, no le estoy preguntando a ninguno de los dos. Solo le estoy contando.
Ahora
Okay,
que-
so in this one, remember in this one, we have the velocity that has both of them, right? 1.4 meters per second. So that means that we need to find the time. We need to find the time for every one of them. What is the formula for time?
Time equal distance or no,
Distance is equal velocity over
over
time.
time.
Like this.
Yes.
Velocity is equal to, like this, right? The original formula is this. Velocity is distance divided by time. So if you want to leave alone the letter t, that means t is equal to distance divided by velocity, right? So we're going to find one time for Palma and one time for David. So first will be Palma. So the time will be the distance that was Palma that was, the time will be the same for both, right? Because it's an average of the time. So what will be the time that will take?
905 seconds.
905 seconds. And what will be the time for David?
609.5 seconds.
600,
9.5.
like this, right? And then you have to answer the questions, right? So, ahí no me termina.
Ahí ya murió la flor.
El ángulo es